Warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillah. Assalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi
Allah
wasallam.
salam.
Alhamdulillah, we are here for another installment of the R2F show. For those that are new to our content, we are R2F or Return to Fitrah, where we do our best to spread the true message of Islam and combat spiritual abuse, cults, deviancy in the Ummah, and help those members that are a part of cults or ex-members of cults return to the Fitrah, return to the true path of Islam, and avoid any type of manipulation, abuse, and transgression of Islamic rights by being involved with these groups and individuals that have these deviant beliefs and practices. And today's show, we had something planned. We were going to start talking about the Dream Cult. For those who don't know, the Dream Cult is a bunch of followers of the individual named Muhammad Qasim, who's in Pakistan, who's the individual that claims he speaks to Allah and Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Allah has pretty much given him this divine message to deliver to the world that says that he's the Mahdi and all that. So, but a lot of our content is dedicated to a cult known as the Muslims of America, or TMOA, as you'll hear us call them. And
Tamoa.
they're a cult, Tamoa. And Tamoa is a cult that was established by a fraudulent sheikh, a fraudulent individual from Pakistan, claiming to be a sheikh, claiming to be a spiritual leader, named Mubarak Jalani, who has since passed away. And he was the imam of Tamoa, but now the imam is his widow, Noor, or Zainab Adams, who now is the imam. And we are always going to touch base on them because we know about what goes on in the community, and whenever we can bring examples to the limelight of how cults violate the rights of individuals and take advantage of people and manipulate people, and how cult followers behave, we're going to bring that up on the show. And just to kind of fill you guys in, unfortunately, we had a guest on our show maybe last year or 2 years ago. I believe is Abdul Fattah is his name. Abdul Fattah. He's a Hafiz. He taught Quran classes to members of Tamoa, to the youth. Amr used to be one of his students.
Yep.
He was married to an individual from Tamoa. I believe that they're divorced now. They have multiple kids together. He was on our show, did an interview, and talked about the deviant beliefs of Tamoa, and but now here we are, and pretty much they violated his rights. He's not a member of Tamoa, never was really. His wife was, and the one thing that a father has with his daughters, and the one thing that every father looks forward to and dreads at the same time, is being able to give, really, I'm going to put it this way, give their rights over their daughter to somebody else who will take those rights up and continue those rights, taking care of their daughter, protecting their daughter, and all these different things. And as a man, as a Muslim man, as a father who's been in a similar situation, when those rights are taken, when that opportunity is snatched from you, stolen from you by thieves, by dirty, horrible individuals, it hurts no matter what. And this is pretty much what happened to Abdul Fattah. Is his ex-wife and his daughter went behind his back and secretly got his daughter married to somebody from the cult of Tamoa without his permission, without his consent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be the topic of our show today. So, if anybody has any questions, type it in the chat. You can come on, you can call in. I'll post a link in the chat so you can come on and say whatever you got to say. If we get angry, if we say different things, just understand that it's because this is we're men. We have daughters, we have sisters. It's kind of we might have an emotional response to this because, quite frankly, it pisses me off.
Yep.
So let me get the where's the
video?
trying to get the chat.
I'm trying not to I'm trying not to play a spoiler, and at the same time I'm trying to I'm trying to be as objective about this as I can, because it feels like it hits close to home because I myself have 4 daughters, and when I heard about this, I was just, not purposely, but you know how your mind starts running through, man, if this happens. And I cannot stop short of thinking that, at the very least, I would most likely attempt to um, do some serious bodily injury to any men who are involved in this, whether it be the groom or the father of the groom or anyone. The women, I mean, it's not, I mean, sometimes women, they try to do different things, but that's what men are there for, to kind of say, okay, it's an emotional situation, but let's get back to what we know we're supposed to do. So I hold the men responsible for this, and I don't see it takes a serious amount of restraint to not resort to violence in this type of situation. So my sympathy and my I don't want to say condolences. It's not like someone died, but it really
Right.
it's very really close to that, I think.
Yeah.
Well, we can't play the whole video because it's 18 minutes long. What we can do is I'm trying to have a little technical difficulties because my chat thing isn't working. Let me see what I could do here. Hold on. I have to leave and come back.
If we don't get the video, we can just talk about the video.
Yeah,
In the video
I mean, and what I hope is, hopefully, what I would prefer to do. I know maybe we should have, we probably should have discussed this before we came on. we're we're not amateurs, but we're not professionals either. Anyway, but maybe what we can do is, I would really like to have the brother on.
Yeah, I prefer to have Hafiz on.
I would,
Maybe in the future.
yeah, I would prefer to have him on and have him, from his perspective, and kind of say, his points live, and then we can react to it and comment off of that from there. So I think that's a better option than the video, but
Yeah,
we
definitely.
actually we can cover this if we want to. We can cover it fairly quickly and then get to what we had scheduled before if y'all want to. But I mean, my thing is, if you don't mind, I'll just say what it basically is. And what this is proof. If we needed, if we needed any more proof, which we don't, but if this is not proof that Tamoa it's a pure cult. This is the only thing you need.
Hmm.
This is the only information you need to confirm that if you're a part of Tamoa, you're in a cult. If you're thinking about leaving, you would be leaving a cult. If you've already left, you were in a cult, but now you're not, alhamdulillah. Why do I say it's a cult? Okay, number one, by consensus, this is ijma'. If you are a Muslim, you know this. And that is, no woman can get married without a wali, without a guardian.
Yep.
Someone has to be there to give that woman away to the man. The responsibility is going to be transferred from a man. It's always going to be a man. A man is always going to be responsible for a woman. This is known by consensus in Islam. Okay? A woman is always going to have a wali. The number one wali for every woman born is their father.
Mm-hmm.
No one can overrule him. No one can take his place unless his sanity is gone or unless he has left Islam. He's not a Muslim, his sanity is gone, or he's even if he's not a good Muslim, that does not overrule him. If he denies his daughter to get married for some reason that is not religiously valid, then the daughter can go to a sheikh, and then they can determine, well, he's saying, you can't get married for some reason that has nothing to do with Islam. It's not even correct, but that's very, very hard for any sheikh to do, and most of them will still side with the father, because the father is going to know his daughter's best, and in general, 99% of cases, he's going to have her best interest in mind. So this is by its consensus, the father is the wali of every daughter when he's a Muslim. Okay, so keep that in mind. That's number one. So number two, how did his daughter get married? It's not a marriage, but how did they try to marry his daughter to some stranger, a man, without his consent? Either one of two things. They could claim ignorance. Well, we didn't know. We thought we could just get somebody married, but this would be a lie.
Yep.
Everyone listening and everyone who knows these people know that they know there's a wali. I guarantee you at the wedding, we don't know about it. I mean, I don't know about it. I guarantee you at the wedding, there was someone there standing in
As a wali.
as a wali for her.
Yep.
So they can't lie and say, well, we didn't know. Okay? So the only way they could overrule him is they would have to deem him to not be a Muslim. And therefore, then they can say, well, we'll find another one because he's not Muslim. That's the only way. Right? So therefore,
still on his side. Like,
yeah.
it's not even.
And he is a Muslim, a man from amongst the Muslims. So what does that make all the other Muslims? Because he's no different than any other Muslim walking the face of the earth. He's not part of TMOA. That's the only reason why he has been overruled. So therefore, TMOA has made takfir on all of the men of the ummah with this statement here, because they're saying he's not Muslim because he's not part of the cult, because he's not part of the group. Therefore, that is pure 100% USDA grade A certified cult behavior. You can't get around it.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Anybody who is supporting this, or anybody who's listening, you should know with 100% certainty, you are in a cult and you can't get around it.
And like, just to like, listen, I have non-Muslim friends, right? Okay, who are engaged. One of my friends, his fiance, right? She's estranged from her father. He still reached out to her father, and like, he's like Muslim, and he had like, this is just been stuff. Like, I'm with this guy's daughter. I plan to marry her. I'm gonna call her father, who she doesn't even talk to. Like, they've been facing. She was like 4. He still called her. He's 25 years old. Like this is stuff that men do. And like the brother.
Go ahead. No, phone back. Go ahead.
The brother called Hafiz, right? He called him, right? And Hafiz said, listen, no, you're not going to marry my daughter. Probably because he's like, listen, you guys are upon shirk. So I don't want you marrying my daughter and doing procreating more shirk here. And so you called him. The Hafiz told you no. He said, no, you can't marry my daughter. And still you're like, you know what? F you. I'm going to do it anyway. Like,
here and when we start, inshallah, soon we can start doing some of our out of the content when we're trying to give people different advice, relationship advice, and especially for young men. But for the young women, if you want to test a very easy test to determine whether, if you are in an unfortunate situation where you are talking to somebody about marriage and your father doesn't know about it, which that shouldn't even happen in the first place, right? That's the first red flag. But if you are in an unfortunate situation where maybe your mother brought someone to you to consider for marriage, and you're talking, you haven't brought it to your father, or maybe he's estranged, whatever the situation is, a surefire test to decide whether you should marry that individual or not is suggest to them that you should get married without talking to your father. And if they say yes or consider it, dump that person immediately. Right? For this sister, for Abdul Fattah's daughter, you made a bad choice, because this individual, he did call your father. Your father said no, and he was still willing to engage with you after the fact. And still pursue it. The only thing he should have been engaging with after that, after your father said no, was with him talking to your father, trying to convince him to say yes. Hey, I'm gonna show up. I'm gonna take you out to dinner. He should have been courting your father for this whole time, trying to convince him that he is the right person to take care of you. And the people in Tomoa know this is wrong, because I can't wait till we can talk to him and get like more of the details. But from what his video's saying is, like, they tried to basically finagle that, he didn't say no, so like his silence was consent, right? No, this is part of the how the nikah is performed, right? Is that they asked the wali, "Do you agree?" He's part of he has to accept the offer that is given with the consent of the daughter. And when the daughter is silent, that is considered consent. But there has to be an agreement for the offer that is given by the groom, right?
Exactly.
And just for a little context, I know what they're gonna do. This is what Tomoa does and other cults do. Tomoa, they're strict mat, like they follow whatever their madhab says, whether it's right or wrong, whatever goes against whatever, they're gonna follow it, right? So they're gonna say, well, Hanafi madhab says X, Y, Z. According to Hanafi madhab, basic, general, cookie cutter, they believe Hanafi madhab, they believe that a marriage without the wali by an adult, sane woman is valid. There's that. All the rest disagree, right? But let's not confuse this. Let's not take this out of context. They believe that the marriage is valid. Like if they went and did it, then like okay, the marriage counts. However, they say it's wrong, sinful, and against the Sunnah. And if you go to the Hanafi scholars and you go into and you actually brought the circumstances of the case, right, and say like, yeah, our wali was available, he was this and that, like he could have, most likely they would rule that like this isn't a valid marriage along with the rest of the fuqaha. But they're the only ones that will give the door open a little bit to say that some of these types of marriage are valid based on the circumstances. So let's not even play that game, right? According to the consensus of all the scholars, 3 out of the 4 madhab, it is not a valid marriage. So if you were any other country that doesn't follow that, and even if you went to a Hanafi scholar and they looked at the situation, I'm betting my money on they're going to say, yeah, this isn't a valid marriage because you don't have any reason or any excuse. Y'all literally, it's not even a situation where y'all married him without the wali's consent. You married him against the wali's consent.
Yeah,
He literally said no.
Yeah,
No.
which is different. And I mean, yes, technically from a technical standpoint, yes, you would be correct. The Hanafis, there is some textual evidence not from the Sunnah or something like that, but from Hanafi sources, the Hanafi school, that they have some of their shuyukh, or this is not even recent. This is from really early in the Hanafi days. But the thing is, there are clear ahadith that go against that view. Yes. And some of the Hanafi views, that one in particular is was not based on the hadith. And some of the scholars say that the reason why those early Hanafi scholars took that position was to try to be safe, and because they did not have access to the authentic hadith that basically say there is no nikah without a wali. There is no nikah. Okay. So, and if you take it a step further, okay, the hadith is clear. There's no nikah without a wali. And that's why all the other schools of thought don't hold that view. Okay. And even the Hanafi scholars of today will tell you that is a ruling that's in the Hanafi school. But the Hanafi school is one of the most notorious. It probably is the most notorious for Imam Abu Hanifa. Most, if not the majority of, more than 50% of his rulings were overturned by his students and in their students. And so lots of it is overturned in this. And so it definitely had some evolution as far as changing in the fatwa and opinions that they had. But the fact remains, you go to any Hanafi scholar, sheikh, otherwise, and try to marry their daughter without their consent and see what they say, see what they do.
Yeah, if you go to their websites and you go to their Hanafi fatwa sites and all that, they give like the clause like, if this is your situation, you should go to a scholar and see if you're actually married or not. Which is saying like you're most likely not married, right? Come on.
The preponderant view, the strongest view, and the correct view is that the marriage is not valid and the two people are engaging in zina knowingly.
and all
once
the
they're
people that participated in facilitating
and so
that happened.
the imam or whoever the sheikh was who officiated it, and he would be culpable in some way, if not an exact replica, copy, duplicate of, because maybe they told him, okay, yeah, brother so and so was deputized by my dad, so maybe he didn't have all the information. But if he knowingly did this, or whoever was the person who made the decision, I mean, could you imagine you being a parent, the mother of this girl who has facilitated that is getting a replica of the zina that would be being perpetrated on her own account. And maybe she spent her whole life, being, guarding her chastity and everything, only to have to possibly come before Allah with a lifetime of zina on her books, trying to figure out where it came from. They're
The thing is, man, and it's sad, but at the same time, it is like, it is what it is. You're gonna this marriage. If I had to put money on something, your marriage ain't gonna work. It ain't gonna work.
Start
You're
off
gonna be
wrong.
divorced, and you're gonna be alone and die alone, just like your mother. Seriously, like that's what if you don't repent, if you don't fix yourself and rectify your affairs, this is what's gonna happen. So you need to contact your abu. This is to the young sister. And I don't want to say too much because it is the brother's daughter, but you have made a very bad choice. I know you're young and you're lovey-dovey and whatever this guy is. Two, the boy's father, you're an idiot. We know who you are. You're a certified clown to even let this go down. And you know what? Something the same or worse is going to happen to one of your daughters. This is what happens all the time. This is what happened. Wasn't he just recently kicked out of the Jamaat because he asked for his Umi to come back and they kicked him out? You know what? He might say something stupid again. They'll kick him out and then they'll marry his daughters off to somebody without his permission. Yeah, he ain't down right now. And you'll be begging to come back and they'll marry some stupid clown from Tamoa that's another deadbeat, whatever. It's really a sad situation, but you have to lay down in the bed that you made.
Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, I'll say outright. If I find out or hear of a young man in some way communicated with my daughter and tried to see if, about marrying her, liking her, or whatever before me, it's automatic no. I don't care if
Principle.
It should be.
Sheikh Saleh Al Fawzan's son or something. I don't care if he's Mufti Mink, Mufti Mink's nephew. I don't care who it is. It's an automatic no, because there's a certain, if a girl is Muslim and she has Muslim parents, and that you might give a slight pass to someone who is a new Muslim. Maybe they don't know. But that person ain't got a shot anyway. No, I shouldn't say that. But the thing is, you might give a pass to that type of person. But as far as someone, listen, this is the thing that I think about. If a person knows my daughter, they know me. That's just the type of movements that we make. If a person knows who my daughter is enough to say, I want to marry that girl, they know me.
Yeah.
They know me. So it's going to be an automatic no. It's going to be a 100% automatic no. And I'm going to have this conversation with my family and their mothers. It's going to be an automatic no. Don't even, as soon as you say, oh, wow, that's a nice young man. I don't care who the mother is. You're going to say, oh, well, and then, okay, now let's talk to the dad. If you do that, I'm going to automatically say no.
Mm-hmm.
And somehow he's going to have to overcome that automatic no to then get in my good graces. But it's not likely because I have an understanding of the type of person that tries to come to the father last is a person who knows that father is going to see something in him that men are going to see.
A weasel. Yeah.
If you're like, you're trying to, you're going through, the mother and all these other people you're going where, that means you got some weaknesses in your game, and that means you have some cowardliness to you as well.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's key.
And so it gives me lots of clues about that person, and so without ever even knowing who they are, knowing their name, or meeting them, or knowing anything about them, I can automatically say no. and feel confident that I made the right decision. And that person will have to prove me wrong later on if they even come. But most of the time, if you have a strong father figure in your life and he says no, and you're a good girl, you won't do it, and he's going to split. He's going to go off.
Yeah.
Now, if you break bad and listen to your friends or some people who are in your ear or something after your father makes a decision after knowing you and him being the decision maker, then I have not seen even one of those relationships, those type of marriages, I've never seen them work. Even if the people stayed married, they battled and fought and did all, and they have all types of trouble, So it's not. I mean, if anyone in the chat or anywhere can give me an example of someone who their father was a decent person and he he said no for valid reasons, and just because they liked the person. See, we're not saying that the girl might not like him and they might not like each other. That's possible, but guess what? You don't get everything you like, and sometimes what you like, what you think is
good for you,
isn't good for you. Allah says that in Quran.
Yeah.
I said, and tukruhu shay'an wa huwa khayrun lakum. You might hate something, and it's good for you. وَعَسَىٰ أَن تُحِبُّوا شَيْئًا وَهُوَ شَرٌّ لَكُمْ. You might love something and it's bad for you. وَاللَّهُ يَعْلَمُ وَأَنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Allah knows and you don't know. So when Allah gives your father and I know this is I'm not trying to lecture, but when Allah gives your father the responsibility to say yay or nay, say yes or no, then that's something that Allah knows better than you do, that He has it's more likely that you're going to be put in a good situation. But these people that go around it crashes and burns every time.
Every time.
Yep.
Every time.
And really, like, there's no reason to ever go around her father. Like, when my brother-in-law wanted to marry my sister, he flew from Canada just to meet me and my father. Like, that's the type of stuff that you do. Like, when you're serious about, okay, listen, this girl, I think she's attractive, or I want to marry her. You go about it as a man the right way. And because Team Away is led by women, right? They think, okay, nah, I'll just go to the mother. This is the problem with having women. There is no men, and we say so. There is no men in Team Away. None. All of you are cowards.
The thing is, we could, and like how Mark said, like, we can, when you become a grown man, when you become experienced and matured, and we know how we were as young men and kids and all that, and the thought process we had, and we have friends, and we know all this stuff. This is why, Allah in His infinite wisdom has set this up like this, that men are the ones that give their consent, right? Because we're the ones that have to vet the men. That's our purpose. And as Mark said, like, just by the little we know, I don't know this kid for nothing, but I bet you if we were to do like a FBI profile of this kid based off of the little facts we do know, I'm pretty sure we'll get pretty close to what this kid is like, because he did have enough honor or something in him to actually go ask, right? Let's excuse the part of that you were already approaching this girl without talking to the father first, right? That's the one red flag, boom, right off the top. You shouldn't have done that. You should have went to your parents and say, hey, I seen this girl at the eat or whatever. What's up? Can you go talk to, her parents? And that should have been the process. The other thing that I wanted to mention is, because we're talking about the girl, what type of man you married, and I don't want to, because Abdul Fattah is his daughter, but brother,
what kind of girl you marrying? Yeah.
If I was your father, I would say, do not marry that girl. Do not marry her. She's willing to
disobey
her father out. I don't care how bad their relationship is. She's willing to cut her father out of this process. That's not a woman that you want to make your wife. Sorry.
I mean, if she can, and let's not say, let's just put it this way. Normally, women who, and this is one thing that we talk about, always say, listen, if you want to know about a woman, ask a question about her father and see what she says about him. Even a woman whose father is bad, or maybe, as they say, a deadbeat, which I got a theory about deadbeats.
We'll do later.
But you can tell how she's probably going to treat you, how she will view your mistakes, how she will react to your shortcomings or whatever, by how she talks about her father and the maybe mistakes or his maybe his issues or his strengths, weaknesses, or whatever. the way that she talks about her father is a good indication of the way you will be treated as a husband. So if a woman can very easily stiff arm, sidestep, go over top of her father, then as a husband, she'll do the same thing to you.
Yep.
Yep.
When you say no,
hmm
we're not going to do that, she's going to go around you or over
Mhm.
you.
Yep.
And you'll have
Exactly.
yourself to blame. You won't be able to say, well, it's my authority. The law gave me this right. Yeah. But you got into this situation by overstepping a right that Allah gave someone else. So you know
Exactly.
it's coming back on you. And this is the type of situation that you've got yourself in. I mean, you should have known that once. And another thing I'll say is
hmm
that usually if you before you get involved with the girl or whatever, you might see her, someone might tell you about her and say, okay, I'm going to call the father. But usually the person, the type of man who, when the father says no, he still pursues it and tries to find a way around and still marries the girl, he's already caught up. He's already made the decision and is firm on the fact that he's going to marry this girl before ever talking to the father. So the father saying no is just like an obstacle, but it's not like it's not going to stop him.
A formality.
So he's already gotten past the point of where he should be with someone who he's not married to. He's already either
that's
been
a sign
talking to
of.
her, making plans with her. I don't want to say anything else, but there's
Yeah.
Well, that's
usually
to me that's a red flag of promiscuity. Like
Yep.
he's gonna be out in the workplace, see something he likes.
Mhm.
You know, I'm supposed to go about it this way, but you know what?
I'm not gonna do
I
it.
can find a way to justify going about it the wrong way, and
Yeah.
then you're gonna be, oh, why are you're gonna, hey, like we
Yeah.
could wait, we could roadmap this whole thing out. What's most likely gonna happen?
Yeah.
I
Mhm.
mean, but the daughter especially, you need to go talk to your Abu and say, Abu, how can I fix this?
Mm.
And if and whatever your Abu says, you need to submit to that because it's gonna be better for you. It
Mhm.
might hurt. It might be tough. Like, okay, I got this messed up situation, but you need to submit to whatever your Abu says because that is what Allah told you to do,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Your Abu is the middle door to paradise. And
Paradise,
based on
yeah.
this video, that door ain't gonna be open to you. If you don't know when you're gonna pass away. If you passed away tomorrow,
That
you
door's
think
not
that
open
door is
to
gonna
you.
be open for you?
Nope.
Do you think
Yeah.
when we talk even in Tamoa cult culture, right? When you talk about well, you're gonna say, well, paradise lies at the feet of the mother. And your cult leader's tafsir of the hadith, he even says that only lies under the feet of the mother that's following the Quran and the Sunnah. Your mother's not following the Quran and the Sunnah, so you didn't got that door either.
And
So what are you doing?
actually, what's interesting is I just planning on doing a khutbah tomorrow that had some of this in it, but the as far as that hadith, it's not really related, but it's going to come across the feed. But that hadith is actually fabricated. There's two of them.
Of
One of them
course,
is 100% fabricated. It's
Of
fabricated.
course it
course.
is.
Of
Dinner
course.
lies under the
Naturally.
feet of the mothers. The one that's stronger, that has some validity to it, is the one where a man was going for jihad. He wanted to go for jihad, but his mother was in need of him, and so the because some people use this as an excuse. So I'm not going to go for jihad. I'm not going to fight because
Yeah,
I got a mother. Everybody got a mother. You know what I
everybody
mean?
got 'em.
Nobody would know if that was the case. No, his
Yeah.
mother was in a certain situation in which she needed him. Like she would not have any sort of support or something like that. There was a valid reason for why he should stay with his mother.
Yeah.
And he said, you should stay with your mother, and paradise is under her feet. But it's not like a general thing, but
Yeah.
the sentiment and the understanding behind the hadith, or what you can derive from it, is close to home, in which being good to your mother. Allah says, "Well, that you should be good to your mother." But what I would say is, I want to ask you a question, Jafar. We'll ask our sheikh the question. If we had these two or two people in a similar situation, they came to your door and they knocked on your door and they say, okay, listen, this is what happened, XYZ. We got married the other day, blah, blah, blah. And what advice would you give them, if they were sitting right in front of you? They're here together. I say that because a very, very similar situation happened to me. Two people literally showed up at my door. But I would like to hear, what, like, they show up and they're, hey, Sheikh Jafar, this is the situation. Bam. What do you tell them?
We're actually just covering this type of stuff in our class that I'm taking right now, and I don't know that the exact answer is, but I know one of the main themes of like the fiqh and these rulings is to reduce harm
Mhm.
and mercy. So the marriage isn't valid. That's one thing.
Okay.
So that's as someone that's mediating the situation, I would try to bring all the parties back into a room, um, talk about what's going on because literally they have committed zina. I don't know what the remedy would be or but I would advise them that they should definitely stop seeing each other. They should go back and then they can't be married unless the father agrees and they come to some kind of solution that a contract that the father does agree on. And the father, I would advise the father to say, okay, what is the reasons why you didn't want to marry her, right? Are they valid? What things would he have to do to, those types of questions to see if there's some kind of middle road.
Mhm.
But I mean, I know if I'm in the situation of the father and knowing who my daughter married, she married someone that's part of a cult that, according to my beliefs, that
Out the fold of
those
Islam.
beliefs take someone outside the fold of Islam.
Hmm.
You're never going to be married until you denounce these beliefs and enter the fold of Islam according to what I understand to be sound Islam.
Mhm.
So it's really a tough situation for both of them, but they definitely had the daughter. I'm going to advise her, you need to go follow what the advice Yabu was giving you. The
Mhm.
son, you guys aren't married. You guys need to separate ways right now. You might have been done this in ignorance or whatever, you didn't know, but cease and desist.
Mhm. Yeah. I would just add to that you know, I would definitely tell them that she should keep hijab, number one.
Oh yeah.
That they're definitely not going to be showing up, holding hands, any of that. And I would say that, it is, it might delay your happiness or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
sometimes people like that is you're not really going to be able to pull them apart. So the goal is to try to at least make it halal,
Right,
right now.
right.
Now, what I did was in a similar situation, I called the father. I tried to reason with him. I tried to tell him, well, listen, because he was saying, oh, he's been seen running around with my daughter, and he was saying he was graping, like the R
Yeah,
word. Like he's,
right.
with my daughter, he's very
Sheesh.
emotional about it. Like he's, people keep saying they've seen him with her, and he was like, I found, some contraceptives under her seat, and you just see like he was like, no, no, this guy is just, I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
but you have to understand, he's saying he's a bad dude, but I'm saying, okay, listen, I mean, but your daughter, I mean, I mean, she's going to meeting him places and stuff. So
Yeah. So
it's
Yeah.
like,
she's
let's
culpable.
let's
Yeah.
look at the situation. So the thing is trying to make it halal. If the father is just like, you know,
Yeah.
doesn't matter, doesn't matter, and that's basically what he like. The answer is no, no, no,
And
no, 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 no.
and just so our sisters don't think that, or anybody watching thinking that like Islam is just a kick that, the dad says no and there's no recourse. No, there are recourses. So like even in that situation, if we found out the dad was saying like say I don't like him because he drives a Honda. I don't like
Mhm,
Hondas. A woman in that situation can go to the qadi or the judge
mhm,
and say my father's preventing me from getting in the halal marriage for unjust reasons.
mhm,
And then at that point the qadi and judge can take that right from the father and
mhm,
say I am now going to serve as the wali because you are being unjust to your daughter
mhm.
and denying rights for stupid reasons, like because he's a Patriots fan, which is that's a pretty good reason, but still. um and he can say, I'm going to marry these people because he fits the criteria and there's no just reason for you to deny them from being married,
Yeah,
you know. But you have to follow the process. You
yeah,
have to
yeah.
go that route
Yeah,
because you
Paul
might
Rudd.
think you have all the right reasons and all that. And most oftentimes, you'll a woman will go that route and the judge will be like, you're
Yeah,
nuts. No, your father is totally justified for
yeah.
saying no. I wouldn't marry you to this guy.
But I would say sometimes the situation gets so you wind up with like usually couples like this or families like this, there's always something. Like every time you pull back a layer, there's something like, hey, gotcha. So it was like, it was one lady. She was trying to go around her father. Her father was saying, no, he's a bad guy, blah blah blah. I said, all right, I started once I told her, I said, listen, his reasons for not wanting you to marry this type of person is valid. And so she says, oh yeah, well, he wanted me to marry his cousin, and he drinks beer, and he doesn't even pray, he doesn't have a beard, blah, blah, blah. She started going off of the people who her father did want her to marry, and they were worse than this guy. They were worse than the guy, but because it was his countryman, and because it was, someone that he wanted, and she said, oh, and he wants his papers and his, I'm not marrying nobody for no passport or whatever. She was like, okay. So she had a valid, comeback on her end. So I'm like, I mean, y'all just, I don't know what to do here, because the father, if you just listen to him, he would be right, and if you just listen to the girl, she would be right. And somewhere in the middle, it's like, got people who eventually, she was like, listen, I'm almost 30 years old, and I listen, how long? Every person that I wanted to marry, or I brought to my father, he said no, because he wanted me to marry my cousin. And so for 10 years or more, she was trying to get married, she couldn't, so she wound up in that situation. So it's like, you have a situation like that. I'm not saying that this is the situation that this one where we're initially talking about goes into, but it gets kind of tricky. The main thing is that the moral of the story is your father is going to have the first say and the final say, unless it's proven and deemed that why he's refusing is not valid. And then you have to go to someone else who's sensible. You can't just pick anyone who's just going to agree with you. I mean, the woman could actually, but that's not the right thing to do. You want to pick someone who knows you, or someone who's going to be able to vet another man or whoever you're trying to marry properly, and give you the right information to tell you, okay, this is the type of man you're probably going to deal with. Right now, when all the shine wears off, the newness wears off, and the dopamine rush goes away, this is the type of brother you're going to be stuck with. And it's a lot of times they don't listen to that. I asked the sister once, I said, you're trying to go around your father to marry this brother. What's the best thing about him that I asked her that right in front of him. And she said his wife that he had just divorced, she said I always saw her with really nice makeup.
That was it?
That was it. That was
y'all. Listen, bro. The standards are at an all-time low.
I said, what can we do?
The standards are at an all-time low.
At that point, I said, hey, they're a match. They're a match. I still didn't marry them, but they were a match for each other.
Oh man! and you know what? For the sister too. Like, one of the reasons that one of the wisdoms behind that the father is the wali and have to basically be involved in this whole situation is it sets like a precedence, right? So you're going to have marital problems. Every marriage does, right? Well, 99% of marriages, there's going to be some kind of problem, right? Especially y'all getting married young or whatever. Let's say, I don't wish this on you or anybody, but just let's think of a hypothetical situation where a woman gets married in the same manner that this couple got married, and let's say her husband turns out to be abusive. Are you expecting your husband's father to go deal with it, deal with the individual? Or what's most likely going to happen, they're going to justify it, they're going to gaslight you, oh, it's your fault, it's your problem, whatever. Who's going to be the one that's going to defend your honor? Because you just literally cut your Abu out of your life and said, yeah, I don't need you to be that's what a wali is, my protector. Right? So what's going to happen in that situation? What's going to, when y'all have disagreements and you need to, you need people to vouch for you and stick up for you and represent your case? Who's going to do that for you? Is it going to be your mother now, who's going to go deal with your husband, who's a grown man that's going to I ain't listen to what she's saying, right? just think about all these possible scenarios, that these questions that your father would have been asking and would have been thinking about, and probably part of the reason why he said no, on top of the bad beliefs that they have. But you have to think about these things, and the people that go down this route, it's really, you were born and raised Muslim, and these are the things that we're doing. Like Mubarak said in the beginning of the show, sure sign of a cult. You went and had a celebration of you cutting, pretty much starting the path to cutting family ties. Let's celebrate it. And as when you're getting married, for me anyway, when I'm thinking about doing anything, especially a major life event, I'm trying to get as much blessing and barakah on it from Allah as possible.
Yep.
Right. So I'm like, all right, well, how do we do this? How do we do that? What should I do? Like think about like when you had your kids, like, okay, what I got to do? I got to do an akika. I got to call it on. I got to, what day do I got to do it? You're thinking about all these things because you want your child to be blessed and protected. Right. Now think about your marriage and how you started that off. How much blessing and how much barakat, or your I'm putting in quotes, your marriage, your relationship, how much blessings are you putting in it when you started off that way? Think about how many people, like how many, men go out there and they meet their soon to be wife out in the clubs doing, Allah knows what. Yeah, I want to make her my wife.
Dumb as hell.
And then what happens? Most of the time?
She goes
The
back to
wife
what she was
becomes
doing.
more Muslim
Yeah.
than him, like a better Muslim than him, and their relationship fails. Then she goes and marries a better guy, and this guy's still running the streets.
Yeah, it's almost they say that's one of the strongest indicators for a relationship not lasting, is when one person in the relationship starts to better themselves.
Yeah.
Right. You have a person who maybe if both, like almost always, if you have a couple, maybe they're both like really overweight and they're together or whatever. One of them loses weight. Ain't gonna lie, right? Now maybe if like they one was in shape, they both were in shape. One got out of shape and then came back to, but like if one like improves like drastically, and the other one is still lagging behind as far as in appearance department, usually the marriage breaks down shortly thereafter. It happens like with a lot of times with education, usually with the woman versus the man. It happens with like if a person just starts to do better, like if people like maybe drug addicts or live in a certain lifestyle that's not good, like even if a person is an alcoholic, this what they say, like alcoholics, a person's an alcoholic and the other spouse is staying with that person and helping them, they're dealing with it or whatever. When the person who was the alcoholic gets better and starts doing for themselves, they wind up breaking apart because that person who was with the alcoholic was like using that as some sort of like crutch or some like being self-righteous, or that was their calling. Oh, I'm sticking with this person XYZ. Go ahead. You got the
Assalamu alaikum. Fitrah, how are you doing?
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope everyone is well. I'm doing just fine. Jazakallahu khairan.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, we were just chatting about your situation. We've seen the video, and our sympathies go out to you, and we know you're doing fine because you know how to handle these things. But we're just expressing our emotions and our feelings towards it, and just talk about another example of PMOA doing exactly what you talked about in your video, which is doing basically the work of shaitan.
Wallahi, you're not far at all from the reality. There is nothing less than the shaitan that is motivating all of this. I have to say, بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Every warning from the Quran that I could find, I gave to them over the course of minimum 2 years, calling them to Allah, reminding her, the mother, I never gave you a divorce because my mother told me not to when she passed away in 2010. If you want to find another way of doing it, do it. The mediators from Tamoa told her she had no right. She did not have valid, but she still went on her hateful rant. Over what? Over a marriage which gave the young man to become a Hafiz al-Quran. Our own children couldn't do it because of her. Now, clearly, when it came to me being adamant and very direct that I would not pass the authority that Allah Jalla Jalaluhu has given to me to anyone. This was maybe 2 years ago. They still remain adamant and disobedient. The last thing I said to uh, my well, I don't even know if I should be calling because we cannot side with those who have taken the word of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala as a mockery. This is exactly. But I told her just on Friday or Thursday. I said this is a red line that if you cross it, there's no coming back. When I did not approve, I had valid reasons. This young man called me talking about his proposal was accepted. Accepted by who? You just called me today. I
Oh
told
wow.
you are very, very, very fortunate to try and marry my daughter behind my back after I taught you Quran and only expecting Allah's reward. I told him that. I said to him, okay, it's been accepted. By who? Her uncle. Oh, okay, fine. Keep doing what it is that they're telling you to do. Yeah,
Man.
I remember you in the Hafiz school, you and your brother, which they were eating so well to where I was tossing money at them, trying to encourage them. I'm not sure. I'll ask my brother. He never called back. They were hiding this young man from me as if he had a reason to be fearful. I don't hate anyone. I don't have malice. I have a right to process what Allah Ta'ala has given me. He did not make Mubarak Jelani or Shaha, Sheikha, or whatever, sheikhs, milkshakes, to be the father of my daughter. He made me to
Yeah,
be the father. So how in the
exactly.
world, who gave you the bloody right to be a pimp for somebody's daughters? You want to be a pimp to your own daughters. So, again, I'm thankful that Allah has given me the balance and the self capacity to refute this falsehood and annoy the hypocrites at it too.
Hmm.
I have a lot I could really lash out righteously so, but I saw that you all took up the story. Alhamdulillah, may Allah reward you for that. And
Absolutely.
thus far, what I saw of you all giving testimony to it has been nothing less of what I have definitely cited and conveyed,
Hmm.
that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made this an example for everyone. Everyone. We've been dealing with this, and when I say we, I mean our people all
Hmm.
these years. This is not the first time we've spoken about this on and off the channel, how it
Yep.
is that manipulates, you know. So I said, may Allah Ta'ala make this to be the prime example for the entire humanity. And indeed, that's what it's turning out to be.
Yeah.
I'm calling my own daughter a whore. I'm calling my own daughter a prostitute, getting involved in it. And there's no way I can take it back. The law of Allah, you decide to breach it.
Hmm.
For who? For what? For a dead dude, murshid, what does he do again?
Nothing. Now,
Nothing.
it, um, so we would like, if you do get time, if we can arrange something, just another time that we can get you on and just chat more about this, and you can bring more of the Quran and the different warnings that, so our other viewers can hear those as well. We did post a link to the video. We want to give you like the final word of this show, and so we can come back another time. Just the message that you have to either other fathers out there that may be dealing with situations or other children out there, the message to our viewers that you want to give for today. But hopefully we can arrange something so we can come back on and talk more about it.
Yes, yes, yes. And that's the thing. I saw that you started. I was late in coming on, catching on to everything.
Hmm.
Yes, absolutely. Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. First and foremost, remember Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala under all circumstances. Um, be very, very patient and realize that patient is based on four things: longing, fearing, um, longing, fearing asceticism, and expecting death. The one who longs for paradise will be able to avoid haram things, and the one who fears hellfire will be able to turn away from physical desires. And the one who is ascetic will be least affected by calamities, and the one who expects death will hasten to do good things. And if you don't have patience, have faith. Allah Ta'ala, He tested the best of us. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, his uncles, his wife, Adam alayhi salatu wa salam, his child. Who are we if we don't think we are inheritors of them, of their examples, of their narratives, and then we do not get similar?
Yeah.
Do we want to be among ma'an nabiyyin wa siddiqeen? An'am Allahu alayhim, an'amta alayhim, be patient. Allah has already clarified in our heart and in our mind. He loves those who are patient and He is with them. But imagine again, it's not something that I find much pleasure in doing as far as speaking out against them. If it was not for the reward of Allah, I would not be involved. So that's the thing. But Jazakumullahu khairan, and we're encouraging everyone to find it in their hearts to do three things. Listen to the Quran, the word of Allah Ta'ala, much with true conviction of the heart, and encourage conversation which reminds of Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. And when we are alone and our hours of daily are already behind us, try to contemplate on Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala's mind. Everything will be okay.
Amen.
Everything will be all right. You know, Allah gave us a right. Because whatever we have, He gave it to us. He's only testing us by it. Let us remain patient. Barakallah.
All right, shukran, Jazakallah. Amr, do you want to close us out, or Mubarak?
I think there was a couple of questions real quick.
Oh, questions? All right, shukran, Muhammad Fal. We'll reach out to you to try to set something up. We got a couple of questions we're going to answer, and then we're going to sign off.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you so much. Barakallahu fikum.
I think Mr. Joe Brown said, Saddam's brother, at what age would you allow her to make her own decisions?
When I'm dead?
I don't know, 99?
Yeah, I just say when I'm dead.
No, like that's the thing. So as a father, or even if you're not the father, as the role of a wali, there's no let everybody. There's no compulsion in the deen, but we have to fulfill our duties as being fathers and being walis, right? Which, like, so say for instance, there's let's just say you're the imam of a masjid, and there's a new shahada that's 40 years old, and she just took her shahada, and she doesn't have any like male relatives or whatever. So you got to be the wali. You have to do your due diligence as a wali to make sure that the person that is that she's interested in marrying, or is interested in marrying her, is a good match and is going to fulfill the requirements of a Muslim husband. So it's no like let them make their own decision. You have to advise, and you have to give, okay, like, no, I'm not going to give my consent for this person because this guy's a drug dealer or whatever else it is. You don't say, okay, you're old enough, go ahead and make your own decisions.
That's what you want to.
And the thing is, well, and to be serious, answer the question, she always, from day one, you know, when she's old enough to understand, even before she becomes puberty, a woman can be married. But as far as consummating the marriage and living together, something like that, that's after puberty. But she always has that autonomy to make her own decision. As far as, it doesn't matter how good of a person the wali thinks the brother is, the woman can always reject him. She can always make her own decision as far as rejecting. But when she's going to accept someone, she has to have it co-signed. So it's a check and a balance. It's always going to be there. The wali can say, I love this brother, marry him. And she can say no. And other situation, the girl can say, I love this brother, I'm going to marry him. And the wali can say no. So they both have to say yes in order for it to end. And that is the strongest indicator of it's a stronger indicator of a successful marriage than to have one person saying, no, I think he's terrible, and still doing it. Or, you know, either way, because even if the woman is reluctantly marrying someone, which it's not really that common in like our culture, American culture, but in some Asian cultures, it's very common where a woman, because her father says, "Hey, this is who you're going to marry," and it's like reluctantly, he's like, "Well, this is who it is."
Yeah.
So sometimes it turns into a situation where as soon as a problem or issue comes up, I didn't want to marry this dude anyway, and it's like it's a strain. So the best way is to have both sides to be in agreement. But to answer the question, she does have the right to make her own decisions from as soon as those decisions are starting to be made.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like this Amir K. Makbul Abdul Mumit
Spamming the jump.
sounds like a Islamophobe spamming or something. That's what it really gives me.
He's
But
a
I
little on
don't
that,
think
right?
there's any question that
Yeah,
they're
he's
just
just saying
posting a bunch of
things.
crap.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think
whatever.
that
I
might have
don't
been it.
know.
I don't know if we had any other questions.
Yeah, I think that's.
I think
I
that's
don't
it.
see
Yeah.
anything.
That
Yeah.
was it. Except for the guy who's letting us know that Lahut Lama Khan is in Pakistan.
That was a good one. That was a good one.
Where's it at?
It's in Pakistan. If you didn't want to know, Lahut Lama Khan is in Pakistan.
Oh yeah, Allah.
I go
No,
ahead
that's
and shake.
they're going for their honeymoon. Back
The
to
honeymoon.
Lemon.
Listen, bro, but only honeymoon after you had your wali approval. Okay,
Yes.
don't just go do anything. But I don't care how many uncles she has, brothers she had. My wife has 6 brothers. All right, and I best believe I had to go with her father's approval. So
Just and real quick for everybody, all the random guys out there, because I have intimate knowledge of this because they did the same thing to me, right?
Mhm.
Don't be the sucker when they come up to you and say, "Oh yeah, her father approved. He just not here, so we need you to be the wali." Don't be that guy. Don't fall
Her
for
father
it. Don't
anyway.
be that uncle. Like, don't say like,
Yeah.
"Okay, well, get him on the phone. Let me talk to him."
Yep.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Is it still in Pakistan? Yes, it is. It's actually still in Pakistan.
It's still in Pakistan.
I wonder if they could relocate it. Like if the sales aren't good,
The cave?
Yeah, like just
like
get a new cave.
like how your sports team, your favorite sports team, they get a new stadium.
Yeah,
Yo,
like
the new
Oakland
level
Raiders went to Las Vegas.
It's moved from the hoot to freaking
Yeah.
Karachi.
Or different. You know how they have Disneyland and Disney
Disney
World.
World.
They have Lamacan USA, Lamacan Canada.
Wow, hold up, what is this man talking about? He just called the rest of
Huh?
what's he talking about?
I don't know, brother.
I
I
don't
think
know.
I think we might be confused about what you're talking about. But
He just called.
if it's good information, alhamdulillah. We weren't really paying attention to what you had going on in chat. We were kind of focused on.
I think he said someone talked about like the crap. Maybe somebody said he's posting some crap or something like that. I don't know. I mean,
Well, I'm the one that said something about crap. I was not referring to any ayats of the Holy Quran. I was more referring to the content that you're posting has nothing really related to what we're talking about. We're not talking about slaves of war or anything like that. So just to clarify that. Yeah.
We love the Quran.
By any chance, Amir.K. Makbul Abdul Muqeed, are you possibly a follower or supporter of Muhammad Qasim?
Or Atamoa?
He ain't a Tamoa, that's for sure. But he screams. I'm getting vibes of Muhammad Qasim type vibes. So this is how they roll. When they come, they will spam you until you ask for you cry uncle or whatever as they say. So I bet you I don't know if he's going to answer, but I'm pretty sure that he's a supporter of Muhammad Qasim. I guarantee it.
Do you believe he's Muhammad Qasim? All right. Qasim bin Kareem, the clean shaven.
It might be Muhammad Qasim himself.
Hell no. He would never.
He's too lazy to type himself.
No,
that's
okay.
All right, you cool, man.
That's cool. You come on anytime, brother.
I'm about to say, so long, my brother. Islam, all right? MashaAllah. Allah bless you, all right? Allah bless you, all right?
Listen, you can spam the chat anytime, man. Keep it going.
We'd love to see you on our
platform. Yeah. We might have you got a guest, man. Yes, we agree 100%. Matter of fact, let's go back and read his comments.
What you say, brother? What you say?
I mean, now that you said that, yeah, you're right. I mean, that was some really good
Information you gave out,
some
you
good
know?
information. We might need to print that off and
I'm about to
post
say,
it.
have as a shirt, for all we know.
Oh,
Video on
man.
this. Oh, man.
Alhamdulillah, man. Barakallahu feek.
I mean, why yak? All right, I think we can close it out. We'll be on next week again. We're going to try to arrange a time for Abdul Fattah so we can, have a more in-depth conversation. And again, we're trying to show people we don't cover this just for entertainment. Especially for all the dream cult people that are watching. This is y'all in 20 years. This is the stuff that you guys would be dealing with when you enter into a cult. You're going to deal with transgressions. You're going to deal with when you wake up, right? Like, for instance, all these people that are joining Muhammad Qasim's cult that aren't married, and they're going to find their significant other inside the cult. And then at one point, one of y'all is going to wake up and be like, you know what? This ain't it. There's going to be forced divorces. You're going to have kids that they're going to, sneak by. We're trying to show you guys how the damaging effects of being involved in these deviant cults. And this is just another example of that.
Yes, and listen, let me just say this one thing, all right? If Muhammad Qasim has a dream, all right, he has to halal your wife. Listen, go ahead and get out of there.
Don't do it.
Go ahead and leave, but that's
Don't
not
do
a
it.
dream, all right?
What is my man Tawheed Umar? Who's insecure? What insecurities? Who is he talking about? Someone in the chat? Is he talking about someone up here? Or what?
He's talking about us. This is I'm assuming he could. If he's not insecure, he can easily log on and explain himself. But I'm assuming that this is their narrative that we're so insecure and damaged by being in a cult that we just project that on everything we see.
Brother Suleiman Rahman, can you please tell us more about this cult in New York? There's a Sufi cult in New York, Long Island, where they pretended to be Ottomans. Listen.
What? Oh.
He said, I'm from New York and only found out about the cult through this YouTube channel. There's also a Sufi cult in Long Island, New York, where they pretend to be Ottomans.
Oh, man. We need more information about
this.
Please
email us, please. Put our email in the chat.
Say, come on the show, whatever you can do, brother. Whatever you need to do.
Yeah, we might have to put them in the queue. They might be next because after we pretty much got we're actually, believe it or not, we're reaching a point where the Muhammad Qasim cult is once we kind of do a thorough breakdown of them, we pretty much will have exhausted all the really points. It will be just like if any of them want to show up and try to defend it, we pretty much will just be presenting those same arguments back to them. But it's really an open shut case, really, for them. So these Ottomans, we'll take them. We'll deal with them next.
We got a couple of people on the list. We got those Ottomans. We got the we got to address the bigger cult of the Qadri Sarari people. We have to address them. We'll address them and see if they respond, which they won't. We already know how they operate. Just like none of the people from Muhammad Qasim's cult will respond. They just go in our chat and talk about how insecure we are.
He is the Mahdi, the honest, truthful person who doesn't pray. He told us that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so inshallah next week, just to kind of wrap this up, unless anybody's going to come on here and chat or whatever, or if there's any other questions, next week we're going to cover the prayer of Muhammad Qasim, because Tawheed Ummah did send us a link to Muhammad Qasim praying, and we're going to cover some observations and different things about the prayer and just show how it's another sign of this being a clear cult and deviant sect of Islam. So we're going to cover that next week if we unless Abdul Fattah comes on for that show.
Yeah.
He's in a different time zone than us, so we might have to change some things up. But that's the plan. He says they have dramatic videos and everything like a movie. Very fake voice as well. It's from the Sufi Haqqani group. They should be fun. Sounds interesting.
Spinning around in circles, we're wearing Dervish style.
Yeah.
I've seen so many trash videos on online the past week or so of just Sufi people just doing Sufi stuff. I'm like, bro, there is no way I think this is Islam. There's just no way. There's just no way you think that freaking spinning around in circles and running around like hooligans is somehow getting close to Islam. There's just no way.
Yeah. Uncle asked if are we finished with the Red House document saga. Yes, so
Yeah.
we finished all the documents. If you want to look at those videos, they're already covered. We will cover that case as we get more information and as there's new developments.
And the hearing is
The
soon, right?
hearing is on
The 14th, right?
the 14th. If
Next
you're in
week,
the
yeah.
Virginia area, feel free to show up because it's public. You can go and sit there and attend if you want. So yeah, we'll cover that as we go. Amir said that I only mentioned the captive women because I thought we were talking about halal women. I think I misunderstood, but I will say we should be open to all discussions and not shy away from these topics. Oh, agreed, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Just to let you know, just a little bit about our channel and what we do is we focus on cults in Islam. And so the title was talking about how really the subject was about how these cults because people aren't part of their cult, they will perform unlawful marriages according to the Quran and Sunnah to basically sneak and get women married to cult members behind their father's back. So like
Mhm.
they'll basically violate the father's rights, not have walis, have a substitute wali to get them married. So that's why we titled it Unlawful Marriages. But yes, we are open to talk about anything related to the content of spiritual abuse, abusive leaders, cults, deviancy, and stuff like that. So yeah, you're welcome to bring up anything related to that.
Yeah. I think that's it. All right. Subhanallah, walhamdulillah, wa la ilaha illallah, wallahu akbar, wa la hawla wa la quwwata illa billahi al-azim. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum
Alaikum
salam
salam
wa
wa
rahmatullahi wa
barakatuh.
barakatuh.